Hey there, everyone, and welcome to Pour and Explore, a wine, food, and travel podcast. I'm your host, Nick Elliott, the wine guy. I'd love to be your go-to guide for all things wine, food, and the amazing places they take us. Here on Pour and Explore, we'll sip, savor, and wander through the exciting world of wine, discuss incredible cuisines, and uncover the stories behind unforgettable destinations. Each week, I'll bring you lively conversations with wine experts, chefs, travel pros, and fellow enthusiasts. We'll share practical tips, hilarious tales, and plenty of inspiration to fuel your next adventure. So grab a glass, pull up a chair, and join me as we pour, explore, and celebrate the good life. Let's dive in. Hey, wine lovers, welcome back to Pour and Explore, the podcast where we sip, savor, and set off on adventures to the wonderful world of wine, food, and of course, travel. I'm your host, Nick Elliott, the wine guy, sommelier, former winemaker, classically trained chef, yada, 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 and I am a full-time rosé enthusiast. I pulled my pink shirt out of the closet today because we are going to talk about a wine that's equal parts fun, food friendly, and is totally misunderstood. That's right. We are going to be painting the podcast pink today and diving into the fabulous, flavorful, and oh so versatile world of rosé. Now, listen, I know some of you might be thinking, isn't rosé just a summer thing? Kind of. And luckily, I'm doing this show right at the height of summer, rosé all day and all that. But I want to make it more about rosé all year. Rosé is so much more than poolside sipping, Instagram aesthetics. It really is a legitimate category of wine with ancient roots, incredible variety, and for me at least, and I'm hoping for you too, we'll have a seat at the table all year round. So pour yourself a glass, preferably something pink, and let's get into it. Let's start with the history of rosé. Where did it come from? Believe it or not, rosé is actually one of the oldest styles of wine in the world. Back in ancient Greece and during the Roman Empire, wines were often lightly colored because the winemaking techniques were very low tech, back then. So we get a bunch of grapes, usually red, we crush them, we take them out, we ferment the juice, and there you go. And you get a very either lightly red or lightly purple, or maybe even a pink wine. They would crush the grapes, let the juice hang out with the skins for a short amount of time, kind of like steeping a cup of tea, if you will. And voila, pinkish wine, pinkish wine was born. It wasn't until later that darker red wines and more full body styles of wine became more popular. And obviously with refrigeration and all of that stuff, we started changing the way that we enjoyed wine. So instead of just drinking room temperature rosé, and room temperature can depend on where you are, and if we're in Italy, in the 1500s during June, you're probably drinking warm wine at that point. So, things were just a little bit different back then. So the way that we enjoy wine nowadays is so much better. And, the way that things happen is, it's just different. The way we make it, the way we enjoy it, and I think it's obviously much, much for the better. Flash forward to rosé, flash forward to today, rather. Rosé it's definitely gone from an ancient tradition, to really a global trend, and no, it did not start with white Zinfandel, that Iran brought to Thanksgiving dinner in 1997. There's a whole world of pink wine out there, people, and I am here to tell you all about it. Let's start though with how rosé is made. And we're going to bust a few myths here. I just recently posted a funny video, reposted a funny video that I saw about someone walks into a restaurant and they ask for their most expensive glass of red wine and the most expensive glass of white wine, and the server brings it over, and the person in the video proceeds to pull another wine glass out of her jacket and starts blending the red and the white wine together because she wanted a rosé, and that is what people think. A lot of people think rosé is not made by mixing red wine and white wine together. Now, there is a little caveat to that. It technically can be in some places in Champagne, literally the Champagne region of France. It is okay to add a little bit of red wine to your white wine in order to create a rosé. But that is not typically 99.9% of the rosés out there are not made in that way. So, how is it made, Nick? Well, I'm going to tell you. We have three different ways of making rosé. The first type is called a direct press, and the direct pressing method is taking red grapes. They are gently pressed very quickly, and what you're getting is the extraction of this blushy color of grape juice. This method is typically used in making Provence style rosés. And Provence style rosé, very dry, very pale, crisp, clean, beautiful, beautiful wines, high acidity, really, really nice. I do want to slip in here real quick because I think it's an important part of this discussion is where the color of wine comes from. No, the color of wine does not come from the grape juice. The color of your wine comes from the skins. So the darker the skin of the grape, the darker your wine will be if it's allowed to sit for any extended period of time. Lighter red grapes will produce lighter red wines. Darker red grapes will produce darker red wines, and everything in between. And then let's talk about orange wine for a second. Orange wine is not made from oranges, nor is it really orange. It's That's just a name for it. And what happens in the production of orange wine? It's made from white grapes. White grapes do have color in the skin. It's usually orangey or golden or maybe yellow, yellowish green, color, and those grape skins are going to give a hue to the finished wine, which is allowed to sit on the skins for a certain amount of time. So, again, color of wine comes from the skins, whether that be white or yellow or pale, whatever the color is of the grape itself. There are gray ish colored grapes, which are not really gray. There's a haze that goes over the skin of the grape that gives it that grayish color. Pinot Gray is what that is. So there's kind of an in between color for grapes as well. And then, of course, your red grapes and a whole rainbow of reds and purples as well. So, all right, I'm going to get off my soapbox and talk about the other two ways that we make rosé. Another way we do it is called maceration, and maceration is where the juice does spend a short amount of time actually sitting on the grape skins, and so instead of just pressing the juice, letting a little bit of the color come out, like in example number one. Example number two, we're actually going to allow the juice to sit on the skins for an extended period of time, usually from a few hours to a day, not more than that. And what we're doing in there, we're not only pulling in more color, but we're also pulling in more flavor and more texture from the skins of the grapes, which is going to give the finished wine a little bit more body, a little bit more mouthfeel when you're drinking it. So that is the maceration method, and then finally there is, and these are the general methods of doing things. I'm sure someone's come up with more than three ways to do it, but these are the main ways, as we typically do on the show. We're speaking very generally. The third method, and my favorite method, because it's a twofer method, which I really like. It's called saignée, and saignée is the French word for bleeding. And we use this method. This is the way that I made rosé wine all those years in Monterey County. Um, we bleed off a little bit of the juice after it's allowed to sit in that maceration for just a short amount of time. So after a few hours to a day, we're going to bleed the blush colored wine, the pink colored wine, or the slightly salmon color or coral color, which is what you tend to get from Pinot Noir, which is what I made rosé from. And we're going to bleed some of that juice off, and then that juice is going to go into its own tank and start the fermentation process. So we get one wine out of this tank. Now, what's left in that tank is less juice and more skin and pulp and seeds and all of the stuff that goes into the fermenting tank. And what we're getting in that fermentation is a more concentrated, because you have less juice to more skins and so on. You're getting a more concentrated wine from this method. And that's why many French producers do it this way. Many producers globally do it this way because it really is a great way to concentrate your red wine over here, and then you've got this beautiful rosé wine on this side that you can sell to people who don't necessarily drink reds, or want something different, or want, as the owner of a business, you want an extra product to have on the website. So this is a really great way to do it, and I very much love it. Let's talk about, we talked about rosé being a global thing, and that's absolutely true. So let's talk for a second about the globalization of rosé wine, because it's not just a French thing by any means. Provence does deserve a gold star for the amazing, and Provence, by the way, is down in the southeast of France in the Rhone region. So that's where that wine is being produced in France. And they're really producing some beautiful things out there. But if you want to expand your horizons on rosé, let's look at some of these other places as well. Let's start with Spain. France's next door neighbor. Spain is no slouch when it comes to making rosé, or what they call rosado in Spain. It's often darker and bolder, typically made from Garnacha or Tempranillo are the two grapes that they use quite a bit in Spanish rosé making, and the rosado is amazingly food friendly. Really, really good stuff. It's going to have nice acid, but it's going to have great body too. Doing it with a piece of salmon or even a steak, nice salad. And we're going to talk about food pairings with these wines in just a few minutes. So I'm going to try not to get ahead of myself here. In Italy, another neighbor of France, Rosato with a T, the styles in Italy do vary pretty widely. You'll get everything from light and zippy to structured and savory rosé wines. And I love Rosato from the Puglia region of Italy. And of course, Sicily is producing some beautiful rosés as well. You may have caught in my feed if I went to a Sicily wine tasting recently at my favorite wine bar here in San Diego called Zest. And my dear friend Roberto, he put together this Sicily wine tasting. Now, I was kind of annoyed that he didn't include any rosé in there, but there weren't any rosés available. I kind of picked on him for that. But Sicily is producing some really, really beautiful wines. If you've not tried Sicilian wines thus far, please go out and source yourself some. Most of the big box wine stores are going to have Sicilian wines in there right now because it's very trendy, and I think you should try it. And Sicilian rosé is absolutely amazing. Of course, here in the U.S., we're doing beautiful things with rosé. Of course, California, yes, rosé all over the place. Whether you're talking Northern California, North Coast, or way down here in Southern California, we're doing some really beautiful rosés as well, and everywhere in between. Oregon. Of course, we can't talk about Oregon without talking about Willamette Valley. And, Pinot Noir is king in Willamette Valley, and Pinot Noir Rosé is just out of this world. As a matter of fact, I'll just go off topic here. Well, I guess it is on topic, but love, love, love. One of my favorite producers out of Willamette is actually, I believe it's the original tasting room in Willamette. It's called So-Called Blosser. And don't ask me to spell it for you, just go look it up. And So-Called Blosser produces one of my absolute favorite rosés in the world, and they just knock it out of the park every vintage. And it's made from Pinot Noir. And again, it's an absolute must try. Go to I'm not getting paid for this. This is not an advertisement. They are not a sponsor. Go check out So-Called Blosser. Get a bottle of their rosé. You will not be disappointed, I promise you. Some of the more unknown regions that are producing rosé, South Africa, doing some great things with Pinotage and Cabernet Sauvignon down there in South Africa. Australia, of course, we can't talk about Australia without talking about Shiraz or Syrah, as you might know it. They're making some really, really cool stuff rosé-wise with Shiraz. And Greece is well known, as I mentioned, not only historically for making rosé, but more contemporarily producing some really awesome rosé wines out of a lot of the native grapes that they grow in Greece, whose names don't even ask me to pronounce, because there's about 1,000 of them. And they're all beautiful. They're all wonderful. Again, just go find Greek rosés. Look that up, and I'm sure you'll find it. And of course, lastly, I'm just going to go ahead and mention in France the two regions that you want to check in on. Actually, I'm going to throw a third one in there as well. The regions that you want to check into for rosé wines. Provence, I've already mentioned, so I'm not going to talk about them anymore. Tavel is another great region. That's Tavel, another beautiful region, and they are well known for their rosé wines. And then we go a little north to Champagne. I mentioned Champagne earlier. The region of Champagne, that's where Champagne comes from. As you know from my sparkling wine episode I did a few episodes back, there are rosé champagnes, and that should be on that list of the great rosé wines coming from France, 100%. So I promised I was going to talk a little bit about food and rosé, and now is that time, everybody. Rosé is basically the Swiss Army knife of wine pairings, and here's why. It's got the refreshing acidity of a white, plus a little structure from the fruit from the red side of the coin. So boom, you get the best of both worlds with rosés. So let's talk about some of my favorite pairings. Provence rosé goes really, really nicely with seafood, especially tuna. So a nice niçoise salad, for example, tuna, potatoes, bed of lettuce, green beans, nice champagne or red wine vinaigrette or something like that. Absolutely beautiful with that. Sushi. Of course, go get yourself some sushi, a little rosé, Provence rosé to go along with that. It's light, elegant, refreshing. Say no more. Spanish risotto, you pair that with, the national dish of Spain, paella, of course. The savoriness and the spices. Of course, is it going to be seafood based paella or something else? Grilled sausage, risotto, and blood sausage, for example, goes absolutely amazingly. I love, love, love blood sausage, maybe with a little goat cheese, sprinkled on top with a little risotto from Spain, out of this world. Risotto from Italy, we're going to pair that with, the obvious choices, a little antipasti, some cured meats, some cheese, absolutely wonderful, some pickled vegetables, or how about some pizza? How about some Neapolitan style pizza? Easy, margarita style, little tomato sauce, great crust, some mozzarella cheese, and some basil. Little risotto wine to pair along with that. Mm, absolutely amazing. And then, of course, we don't want to forget about our friend sparkling rosé, whether it's champagne or from somewhere else. Sparkling rosé, I don't want to lose you on this one, but sparkling rosé with fried food. Fried chicken, potato chips, French fries. Do I need to say any more? Trust me on this. Go give it a try. Love it, love it, love it. And let's not forget about desserts. Rosé is going to be great with berry tarts, shortcake, sorbet. The rosés are going to come, like in white wines and sparkling wines, they are going to come in different styles, or not different styles, different sugar content. So you get very, very dry rosés, and you can get very sweet rosés as well. That's where we start to get into the white Zinfandel, sides, more sweetness, more color, more body, and so on. So pairing those wines, maybe something a little bit sweeter with sweeter rosé, you get that nice compare the sugar to the sugar, as opposed to that acid with the sugar, which might be off-putting to some people. Something I just thought of that I'm going to throw in here at the last minute is, I talked about sorbet a minute ago. You take some lemon or strawberry or raspberry sorbet and top that off with a little bit of sparkling rosé. Oh my goodness, it's like a French affogato, like pouring coffee over ice cream. That sounds really, really good, and it's making me hungry. So, With that being said, I'm so glad you guys stuck around with me for this episode. I love talking about rosé, and I love drinking rosé, and I think I'm gonna go have a glass of rosé right now because I've got a bottle open in the fridge. And it really is. The way that rosé is being made nowadays, this is not your mama's rosé. This is not your aunt's rosé, that we're producing out there. And I would really also love for rosé to be viewed as something that you can enjoy all year round. I've got the bottle in the fridge right now. It's summertime here in San Diego, so it's warm, a tiny bit humid. So drinking that wine cold out of the fridge is going to be awesome. But you know what? Sometimes I'll just pull a bottle of rosé out of my little wine cabinet and I'll drink it just the way it is, especially in the winter time and things like that. So I encourage you to experiment a little bit, have fun with it, of course. And what's my motto, people? You drink what you like. So find out the way you enjoy it the most, the way you like it the most, and that's how you enjoy it. All right, guys, that is going to wrap up today's rosé episode. Hopefully, I've convinced you that rosé is not just for the summertime, and it is certainly not basic, as the kids say. So whether you're sipping a glass of rosé poolside, pairing it with your favorite meal, or just popping a bottle because it's Tuesday. It's Monday here, but or it's Tuesday. Rosé has a place in every season, and I would say at every table. So if you learned something new, discovered a rosé to try, or want to spread the pink wine love, here's what I would love for you to do. Number one, subscribe to this podcast. No matter where you are, hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button. I would really, really appreciate it. It would help me out a lot if you would do that for me, and I would be forever grateful. So that's step number one. Please tell me, drop a comment in my social feed and tell me what you're drinking on the rosé side. Comment Rosé All Year, and I am going to send you my rosé wine and food pairing guide. Love that. All you got to do is just subscribe, comment, Rosé All Year, and I am going to send you my little pamphlet on enjoying rosé wine with food. And of course, if you've got a favorite rosé, a dream travel destination, or a great food pairing that you love to pair with rosé, I want to hear about it. So make sure you hit me up on socials. Either way, comment Rosé All Year, and I will send you my rosé wine and food pairing guide. So until next time, guys, thank you so much for visiting, and please, everybody, keep wondering and wondering. Cheers, everybody, and cheers to rosé all year. You like my pink shirt? I like my pink shirt. Take care. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Pour and Explore. I'd love to hear your thoughts, your stories, and your questions, so you can drop me a line at cheers@thewineguy.vin. That's cheers@thewineguy.vin. Or let's connect on TikTok, Instagram, or Facebook. Grab those links on my website at thewineguy.vin. Until next time, let's keep wondering and wandering. Cheers, everyone.